Hey, what's up? Derek here at bodysurfinghandboard.com. If you're watching this video, you already know how important it is to be able to hold your breath longer underwater, right? It improves performance and also can minimize risk and save your life. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to hold your breath longer underwater. All right. Before I get into the tips, before I dive right into that, let's just go over quickly why it's important, right? So I already mentioned it improves your performance, right? Your performance underwater, so swimming. In order to get out past those large swells, you need to be able to hold your breath and perform a physical activity underwater. If you can't do that, those big swells are going to take you all the way back to the shore. Trust me, if it's your first time, you're going to be super frustrated if you can't swim under them waves, honestly. Next, holding your breath longer underwater can actually save your life. It can prevent you from drowning, right? If it hasn't happened already to you, a wave is definitely going to take you out sooner or later. You're going to wipe out. It's going to take you under some gnarly wave. It could hold you under there for some time. You don't know when you're going to resurface. And that's not like factoring in if your bathing suit gets caught to some coral or some rock or whatever. You don't know. You don't know what can happen. So being able to hold your breath longer underwater is just super helpful to keep yourself from drowning. You don't want to be doing that. So the main idea to really holding your breath underwater is, the reason why I'm sharing these tips and techniques is to, well, first of all, improve your CO2 tolerance and also increase your hypoxic threshold, which is your ability to perform activities at low levels of oxygen. So if we can get those two increased, then you'll be looking good next time you go out in the ocean. But before I get to my tips, disclaimer here, I am not a medical professional. I am not claiming any expertise in anything whatsoever. So you are performing or implementing these tips, practicing these tricks, these techniques at your own risk. So I'm not liable whatsoever if anything happens, okay? So just want to get that out of the way. All right, here we go. First tip I got up on the board here is to stay relaxed. Gotta be calm. I know being underwater can make you panic. You can freak out. It's, especially if it's your first time, it's not super familiar. So you can easily hyperventilate and lose your breath quick. So you need to stay calm and relaxed, all right? Because if you start acting crazy or going nuts, you're gonna be expending more energy and oxygen, which you need. You wanna be able to conserve as much energy and oxygen when you're under the water, all right? Second tip is to mentally prepare yourself, all right? So you can do this at night before you go out in the ocean. You basically want to visualize yourself holding your breath longer underwater, and then you'll be able to do it. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but if you believe in yourself that you can do it, then you can. A lot of things in life are mental, so stay positive. Plus, if you keep thinking that way, it kind of subconsciously sinks into your mind, and then you're able to do it. It's kind of weird how things work like that, but yeah, so try that. My next tip is to do not eat too much before you go out swimming or body surfing or surfing, because in order to process all that food, or in order to digest it, your body needs oxygen, and you could be using that oxygen when you're underwater holding your breath, right? So you kind of want to limit the amount of food, the amount of processing that's going on in there when you're out swimming, because it'll expend more energy, take more oxygen away from you that you could be using otherwise for holding your breath longer underwater. My next tip is to practice deep breathing. This is pretty cool because it helps to expand your diaphragm. And you can go to bodysurfinghandboard.com/how to hold your breath longer underwater to check out how to do that. I offer some simple little instructions on how to practice that each morning when you wake up. So go to bodysurfinghandboard.com/how to hold your breath longer underwater for that. My next tip is to use O2 table training. Use O2 table training, all right? Basically what this is, it's like a workout for your breath holding abilities. So for the O2 tables, the amount of time that you hold your breath per set increases while your rest and recovery remains the same. So for example, for the first set of this breath holding exercise program, I'll hold my breath for like 15 seconds and then rest for 60 seconds. Then the next round I'll hold my breath for 30 seconds and then rest for 60. And it keeps going up, another six more sets. I actually created a beginner O2 table that you can practice with at bodysurfinghandboard.com/how to hold your breath longer underwater. So go there, check out those tables, and see if you can get through it. You should be able to. They're pretty beginner friendly, but that just kind of gives you an idea of the type of training you'll be going through to increase your lung capacity. My next tip is to use CO2 tables as well. So this is kind of like the opposite of an O2 table, where the amount of time that you hold your breath for is static, while your recovery time decreases. So for each set, the amount of rest time you have lowers. And this improves your CO2 tolerance. And I created a beginner CO2 table also at bodysurfinghandboard.com/how to hold your breath longer underwater. So you can go there and test yourself by practicing with that CO2 table as well. My next tip is to let out small breaths at a time when you're holding your breath underwater. Believe it or not, this actually helps make your body feel better when you're holding your breath. Usually, when you're holding your breath, you kind of want to let it all out or pass out. But if you let out a little bit at a time, you actually feel good each time you let a little bit of CO2 escapes. Plus, this also increases your CO2 tolerance as well, making your body more accustomed to the amount of CO2 in your body. Yeah, so try that out. It's a pretty cool little tip that actually helps me quite a bit when I'm swimming underwater. Next tip is to incorporate hypoxic training into your weekly schedule or whatnot, or your weekly workouts. You have to be careful with these because you can black out pretty easily. Basically, all hypoxic training is doing physical activity while holding your breath. Okay? So it's supposed to simulate swimming underwater. You're holding your breath while you're swimming under the waves. An example of hypoxic training on land is to basically ride a stationary bike while holding your breath for 5 to 10 seconds. All right, you want to do this in gradual increments. Be very careful with this because you can pass out. So start, riding the bike, hold your breath for 5 seconds, then relax. Then once you get used to that, try holding your breath for 10 seconds while you pedal the stationary bike, and then relax. You want to make sure you don't pass out because it can be very dangerous. So proceed with caution there. My next tip is to get involved in some yoga classes. Search out a local yoga studio and take those classes. Yoga is focused around breath and movement, which is perfect for body surfing and surfing. Ever since I started taking yoga, it has drastically increased my performance in any type of weightlifting and any type of sports I do, such as body surfing and surfing. My flexibility has increased. The meditation is awesome, helps get you centered and focused, and you just feel great after a good yoga class. So definitely get involved in a yoga studio for sure. And then my last tip is don't stop training. Persevere. You got to keep up with this. It's repetition that makes you better. Once you stop, you'll notice your improvements will flatline. Okay, so in order to hold your breath longer, you got to keep practicing these different techniques, and just repeat what's working in order to be able to hold your breath longer. All right, so that's it for me. Hope you learned something here, and peace out.